G'day everyone, welcome back to lukeswayoflooking. A couple of things I want to go over before we start the video. First thing is, I painted some of my orcs. Yay! I actually really like how these guys are turning out. I like the yellow and pink color scheme and the watermelon skin. I've also been asked what printer I'm using. I'm using the Anycubic Photon. I've been using it for about a year now. For washing, I just use methylated spirits because it's cheaper to get large quantities here in Australia of that than it is for isopropyl alcohol. And for resin, I'm using Monocure 3D's grey resin. Alright, let's get into the video. So today we're designing some grots and some runtherds, and I want to give a couple of my runtherds a squig hound, so we'll also be doing a sculpt for a squig. Now unfortunately I don't have footage for the entire sculpting process for some of these designs. I still sometimes forget to hit the record button before I start sculpting. But I wanted to go through and discuss the kinds of things that I think about when I'm beginning a sculpt. So let's talk about that while we watch this grot taking shape in the background. When I was thinking about making grots, I knew that I wanted them to look like part of the same species as the previous orcs that I've designed. Now, I already had a goblin creature that I designed a while ago, so I figured I'd start with that. It was roughly the same size and shape that I wanted for the grot, but I did want to just change the head a little bit by giving it a more pronounced jawline and just modifying it to look a bit more like the other orcs. It's still recognizable as a grot, but it also looks like it's part of the same family as the other orcs. Okay, now I'm going to start tackling the squig, and for the body of the squig I'm actually going to use the head of a knob. Now, I want my squigs to look less like an angry beach ball and more like a anglerfish with legs. Time for another time lapse. So we've finished up our grots and our squig. Now it's time to work on our runt herd. Like I said at the start, I'm missing some ZBrush footage. So we're going to assemble this guy in Maya. We're going to use some of the digital bits box that I have from the other Orks. Then at the end, I'm going to show you all the different models that I came up with. Okie dokie, let's go through these one by one, shall we? This is the first finished runt herd design. As you can see, it's slightly different from what you saw me working on. I changed the head afterwards and the feet as well. I went for barefoot instead of boots, and for the head, I went for some horns. Since he's an odd boy, I want him to look decidedly odd. My first little grot carrying a gun. He's helping. Here's another design for a grot looking down the sights of his little grot blaster. Another design with a shortened grot blaster and a little shiv. Here's another one looking down the sights. I thought it would be really funny to make his headpiece a shoulder pad of an orc. So these are the two new weapon designs. Nothing super detailed, just a stripped down version of the normal shooter. I did work on a second design for a runt herd. This one has the grot prod instead of the grabber stick and a robotic hand instead of the squig hound, so that he can still grab any misbehaving grots. Slight variations of the grots, and then I decided that wasn't enough. Here's a little ammo runt. This design is probably one of my favorite designs out of everything I've done so far. A little grot oiler and oil squig. Look at him, he's so cute with his big dumb grin. I also decided that I wanted some squig riders. So that's a thing now. Got a more dynamic pose for this guy. And a static pose. And last but not least, a little grot orderly. This guy and the oiler will become more relevant in the next episode. Canister on his back is for something that's going to come up in the next episode as well, which is a syringe. Well, that's all the grots that I have. Here's a cheeky little render of what a filled out unit might look like. Keen to get these guys printed out and painted up, and hopefully I can show them to you in the next episode. Before we leave, I just want to say a massive thank you for 70 subs. It's pretty incredible that there are that many of you out there interested in this stuff. I obviously have a huge roster of orcs that I still need to design and print out. And if I ever manage to get through that, I have a big list of other projects that I want to share with you guys. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a safe and happy Christmas. And if you don't, I hope that you get to enjoy some time off. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you later.